Welcome to Rekindled Faith with Melanie Bearda. Whether you've been wrestling with questions, facing doubt, or simply just uninspired, let's dive into what it means to be authentic followers of Christ. All right, listeners, so our next guest is Andrew Marcus. Andrew is a two-time GMA award-winning singer-songwriter, worship artist based in Vancouver, British Columbia. His latest album features songs written with Paul Baloche, Leland Mooring, as well as Scott and Ed Cash from We the Kingdom. He is currently the director of INDOUBT, a young adults ministry that exists to bring the gospel to relevant issues of life and faith that young people face every day. INDOUBT provides resources, including a weekly YouTube and podcast program called The INDOUBT Show, where Andrew talks with authors, pastors, and Christian leaders to discuss a variety of subjects, including theology, relationships, mental health, sexuality, and more. I hope you enjoy the show today. Hello, Andrew. Welcome to Rekindled Faith.
Hey, I'm so honored to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's good to have you. I'm excited for the topic that we have today. But before we dive in, do you want to just share a little bit more about who you are, what you do, just for our listeners that may not know who you are?
Totally. Yeah, I'd love to. So I work with a ministry called INDOUBT. It's a young adults ministry with Back to the Bible Canada and a ministry called Laugh Again. We're all under the same umbrella called Good News Broadcasting Association of Canada. And INDOUBT, it's our desire to help young people navigate life, faith, and culture with a biblical perspective. So we have tough conversations, we interview guests, and just kind of talk about the things that a lot of young people are wrestling with and just giving answers, hopefully, to help them with all that life throws at them, which is usually a lot these days. And so it's been really great. I've been with that ministry this is my third year, going on my third year right now. So it's been a very exciting time. I love that we get to do this. And so I do that. I have 3 kids, married for 11 years, and I also do music ministry. I used to be a full-time, music pastor and an artist with a label down south. And so I'm slowly starting to get back into the music world. But right now, INDOUBT is taking a lot of my my time, which is awesome.
Awesome. Well, thanks for that intro. So our topic today, I'm pretty excited about it. We're going to be talking about ministry burnout.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people that have experienced ministry burnout. And obviously I've also experienced ministry burnout and just burnout in general. So just to take us into this, would you like
Mm-hmm.
to start by sharing your own testimony and your experience with ministry burnout?
Totally. Yeah. I had, people, if I look in hindsight and look at people in my life who I know and love and trust, and they kind of were saying like, oh, it was only a matter of time that you were going to crash and burn. They just could tell that I was maybe doing too much. I just thought, oh man, I just have like really high capacity. I could do this and do that. So I was traveling, doing music and a full-time music pastor. And then during COVID, I did my real estate license and I was like doing real estate stuff on the side. And I'm like, oh, and then I'm having kids, still trying to run that same speed while kids are being entered into the world. And it was 2021 or 22. 2022, I ended up getting diagnosed with clinical burnout, is what the doctor said. And so I ended up having 10 months. It was after Easter service. And I was talking to someone during our 2-minute meet and greet after the service. And the service, obviously, I was a music pastor at the time. And so Easter and Christmas is usually chaotic and so much prep and all that kind of stuff. So it was just really busy. And I remember during the 2-minute greeting, I was talking to a friend and she was like, oh, how's it going? I'm like, I'm really not good. And it was my first time kind of saying it out loud. And she's like, oh, maybe during the, Easter break after, because I take some time off after Easter, you can do some fun things. Like, what would you like to do on your time off? I'm like, there's nothing I want to do. I just want to curl up in a ball and cry is what I told her. And I was like, oh, I surprised myself with those answers. Then the 2-minute greeting was done. I sat down. I'm like, what was that? And it was probably a couple of days after that. And then I just literally collapsed. I hit the wall so hard and I couldn't function. And I got anxiety and panic attacks and depression, and then it morphed into like suicidal thoughts, which I never thought I would have. Beautiful family, beautiful kids, amazing parents, like just an amazing life of ministry. And here I am, like making plans in my head that I'm a burden to everybody and I should just, be gone. And, saying that now is so wild to me. But in that moment, it was so real and it was very strong. And so, yeah, I had 10 months where I didn't do anything, no church ministry, no music, no real estate, no nothing. I was absolutely, like, I couldn't function. I actually couldn't function. Like mentally, I couldn't function. I couldn't drive. I was like, anytime I drove, I'd get a panic attack, which is not like me. I love driving, I love cars. And so I was very crippled. I was very stuck at home. We had my son's birthday party. I don't know why this sticks out to me so much, but I grabbed all the cutlery for it. I asked my wife, "Hey, where should I put the cutlery?" And she's like, "Oh, just put it anywhere." And I just like stared at the cutlery, and I didn't know how to do that. Like I didn't know where to put it, and so I just like stared at it, and she had to like take the cutlery from my hand and like put it down. Like my brain was completely mush. So I went from like super high capacity, doing this, that, and the other thing, and then I can't put a fork and knife on the table, and so it was like uh, a very dark, hard time for all of us, like my whole family.
Thank you for sharing that. What sticks out to me too is just like how we can be going along thinking, hey, we're doing all the right things. Like this is the way we're supposed to go. And we're taking on all of these activities or whatever it be. And then all of a sudden it's just like you hit that wall and you just turn into a mush puddle
Oh
and
yes,
stuff.
it was terrible. Yeah, and even like the like talking with like doctors and like cognitive behavioral therapists, and I started seeing as many people as I could to just get help. And I was in the Word every day and sitting on my patio every day. One of my old previous pastors I worked for 10 years at my last church just said when he struggles with anxiety or he gets overwhelmed, he said, Jesus says in Matthew, consider the birds, they don't sow nor reap, yet your heavenly Father provides everything they need. And so for him, when he gets overwhelmed, he literally obeys Jesus and goes and listens to the birds. That like helped him to like actually literally consider the birds. So he would go for a walk and listen to the birds, and he became like a bird watcher, and which is kind of weird, but at the same time, it just worked. So for me, I was like, oh, I'm gonna just sit in the patio and just listen to them, and that really helped me actually. Just kind of get perspective and just be quiet with the Lord. And so I'd have my Bible and I'd just go and I'd read and listen to the birds. But yeah, I did all the things I could. But they were saying even like mentally, like what happens to your, I don't know if it's testosterone or whatever it was, like everything gets so out of whack that like it takes a long time to rebuild everything. And so it was like a mental thing, it was a physical thing, it was an emotional thing. It's like all the things. And you're just in this state where I just felt like I thought I'd never get out of it. I thought I would just be in this depressed, you know, season forever. Most people who know me know that I just love to be silly and ridiculous and make dumb jokes and just have fun and not take anything seriously. And so when people would come visit me, it was like no laughter, no jokes, just like it was just so dark. I've never had that before. And so you know, it was yeah, it was not an easy time, but yeah, and you think you're doing good things. You think you're doing all these things for the Lord and writing songs for the church and traveling ministry, doing music for the Lord. And even when I was doing real estate, just I take it as opportunities to like pray with clients and just like be very pastoral with that world and kind of mission field. And so it's like you think I'm doing all these things for you, Lord, and that still happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when you look back at that time now, what kind of red flags stick out for you? Of like
Oh, that's a
what
good question.
like I guess where I want to come from is like where were you being prompted by the Spirit to step back, slow down?
That's a really good question, actually. Just trying to reflect back and think of like what my life was like and what I was thinking there. And even looking in hindsight, I feel like at least for me, it's been like I've been raised in a family and in a culture, I guess, out here where it's like go go go, like my church never would say this. They always valued that pastors rest, that pastors, spend time with your family, that your wife and your kids, that's your first ministry. The church is not going to trump family life. It's very easy to say that and then hard to do that. So I felt like I was doing a lot of ministry. And so, I didn't have that balance super well. And also, I keep thinking of the story of Mary and Martha. Jesus is coming to town and he's going to Martha's place. He's bringing the disciples. And obviously, she's like, they're so pumped. And, if I'm in Martha's shoes, I'd feel the same way. Like, I'd want to, I would Windex the peephole in the door and clean the blinds and clean the tub and like clean every freaking detail of that house and make the best meal. I mean, the savior of the world is coming over, so I would go nuts. And then she starts getting mad that Mary's not helping her. And I just love what Jesus says, where it's like, there's a few things that are important. Then he says, actually, no, indeed, one thing. And Mary chose the one thing. Don't take that away from her. And I feel like in hindsight, looking back, I missed the one thing. I feel like I was a Martha. And it was like, go, 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 go. And I'm doing all these things. I'm the savior of the world. I'm going to do this and do that. And like, I just like, he's worth it. He's amazing. And it's like, it's not a bad thing that Martha was preparing, but Mary chose the better thing of just sitting at his feet and just listening. And I feel like I missed that element in ministry towards the end there. I was just go, 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 go. And I wasn't sitting and doing the one thing that mattered.
I love that you bring up that story because the last two people that I interviewed also brought up that story. So I
No
think
way.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think this is like a very important
Interesting.
story that we all need to kind of park ourselves on for a bit. But
Interesting.
yeah.
And what was like, I mean, I guess I have to go back and watch, but like, it wasn't about burnout necessarily, was it?
No, it was, I had Brian Pugh talking about the effects of shame.
Legend.
Right?
Oh, I love that guy.
And then followed by him, I had Bonnie Pugh talking about salvation.
Two become one.
Right? You guys must know each other or something.
That's so funny. That's so funny.
Yeah. So Bonnie talked about salvation for the church kid when she brought up that story as well. So,
you know what? I think it's a powerful story, and it's very applicable in today's culture. I think in many ways, whether it comes to burnout or what Brian and Bonnie were talking about, we all need to get better at this instead of like go 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 and finding our worth and our value and our identity in the things we do, which is so easy to have that happen, especially in ministry and whatever you do. Actually, that's not where we find our identity. It's really interesting. I'm writing a new article for INDOUBT. It's going to come out in March. And I was writing first priority on my computer, and then it did like the blue dotted line under, like there was an error. And so I right-clicked it, like any good writer would do to figure out how to fix it. And it wanted me to take the word first out, because there's no such thing as first priority. In the 1400s, when they used the word priority, it was a singular word. And for 500 years, it was a singular word. And then in the 1900s, they decided to make it a plural word, like we could have many priorities. And I think what Jesus is saying to Martha is, hey, there's one priority. There's only one thing. We can't have 50 priorities. And Mary chose the one thing. And so for me, what I've learned is I was doing all the other things. I had so many priorities, and I missed the resting, abiding, dwelling, stopping, observing, sitting, just being. Like he just wants me for me, not me with all the things I can do for him. And I felt like I needed that script to be flipped.
Absolutely. Which makes me think about how he's instructed us to honor the Sabbath,
Hmm.
right? And like you said, like we live in a hustle culture where it's like if we're not moving and doing and serving and all the things, then our value to our perception is not there. Like we need to be actively involved. And I think that we also have people that we'll have people that either take too much on, or we have people that are just not at all taking anything on. And so
Right.
there's not really a balance like within the church community, within our own like society or culture, communities that we live in. We can like, I mean, God calls us like to be the hands and feet of Jesus, and like the hand does what the hand does and the foot does what the foot does. But how often, if you find a yes person, you're always going to go to that person and be like, hey, I know that
Yeah.
Andrew is probably going to say yes. I need this thing done. He does good work. Let's go to Andrew. And I've been voluntold multiple times to like
Hmm.
do things, and like I just show up and I do the thing
Yeah.
because I am that type of person where I'm like, yeah, well, first of all, I'm honored that you even thought of me to ask me, and
Yeah.
I want to do this thing. But then I do this thing, and like I have fallen prey to like taking too much on and then getting into that burnout mode, and then everything like is a disaster and I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm yelling at God and I'm upset and I'm like,
Yeah.
how did I get here, type of thing. So it's like this cycle, and I've had to make the decision just to like step back. And like you said, and I like that point, like it's not a first priority. It is
Hmm.
like, first of all, time with God is the
Yeah.
priority that I
Yeah.
need to have in my life. If I'm not being fed by the word, if I'm not being fed by my relationship with God, I'm useless to everybody. And
Yeah.
I think that we need more Christians to be fully engaged and like
Yeah.
sunken deep into that foundation of their relationship with Christ, because we do live in that hustle culture where we can easily get swept up in even different controversial issues and all the things, and like, wow, that's not how it's supposed to be. And we lose that relation, or not, maybe not the relationship, but that instant connection with our
Yeah.
creator. And we don't speak love, and we don't speak truth, and we don't speak with gentleness and respect,
Yeah.
right? So like that priority needs to be so
Yeah.
very firm.
Yeah. And even in our culture, like with hustle and bustle, it's like people think, oh, like I need all the days to do all the things that I need to do. And it's the same thing with tithing. It's like, how am I supposed to give 10% and live off 90 when I can barely survive on 100%, like with inflation and whatever? But we have to remember God's math doesn't math. It's like a different math. His math isn't mathing. Like I can give 10% and have more than enough and even extra. It's just different. And it's the same thing when we rest and we stop and we dwell and we observe and we actually take that intentional time to Sabbath, like in a biblical, godly way. We can get more done in the 6 days than we could if we actually hustle for 7 days. It doesn't make sense, but it's just the way it works. And I've seen it time and time again.
Yeah, and now in our society, people call it self-care, right?
Hmm.
But it's
Yeah.
like God said it's the Sabbath. Like take the
Yeah.
Sabbath, rest on the
Yeah.
Sabbath.
Well, everything
Set time aside.
culture always takes things and then
I
tries
know.
to say like, oh, fasting. There's a biblical fasting, and now everyone's like doing like fasting for other reasons. It's like no. God's original design in all areas is actually really good, and then culture tries to change the name, change the language. There's there's non-Christian Sabbaths, and like they're trying to discover these things. Like no, just go to the text, see how He's designed us to live, because it is ultimately for our best and for our good. Um, and I remember writing a song called "Abide in Me," and I can send it to you after if you want to listen to it. But it was right after an Easter service, and I was feeling so burnt out, so tired, so worn out, and just reading through John and reading through the abide, passage, and how like if we don't abide in Him and stay close to Him, like we will not bear fruit or good fruit, lasting fruit. It's like we have to abide. And so it's like if we don't get that main priority, that main foundation, everything else is just we're going to be flying in the wind, and we're going to just it's going to end up a disaster like it did for me. And I don't wish that on anybody, because that was a very challenging time. But um, the foundation has to be an abiding relationship, and then all the ministry, all the joy, all the parenting, all the jobs, everything comes out of that. And when you have that in the right order, um, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, for sure. And I wonder what's your perspective on like after you had the experience of like burnout and becoming a puddle, do you think that like having that experience kind of kickstarted you into recognizing how important it is to have God as the value and set aside that time? Or do you think that's something that would have come if you hadn't experienced that kind of suffering that you did in that burnout
Hmm.
journey?
I think our suffering and our trials and our hardships always change us and shape. Oh, they should. They're supposed to. They're meant to. Sometimes we go through certain things multiple times because we haven't learned what we were supposed to learn. I do feel like that burnout season really did teach me that I had everything backwards and that I was go, 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 go instead of stop, rest, and go from there. And so I feel like maybe I wouldn't have learned it unless God, in his sovereign plan, forced me to stop and to look. Like, I know I'm supposed to stop and dwell and observe and rest. Um, my church culture wasn't like this, but I know a lot of church cultures and ministry cultures. Like, if you obey the fourth commandment and take a day off, it almost looks like you're lazy. And if you break that commandment, you get a raise because you're a hustler and you're working hard. Not the case in my previous church, but I know a lot of churches and a lot of ministries are like that. They want to see that crazy hustle. Um, but I think God, in his grace and mercy, taught me through this experience. And I'm grateful for it. And I wouldn't change anything, which is weird because it was a very terrible time, but I wouldn't change it. I think it was important for me to um, recalibrate and just kind of realign everything.
Yeah, I love that because I feel like a lot of times people will perceive their suffering or their like dark season as something that God is like inflicting on them, like, oh,
Hmm.
I don't like you, I'm going to inflict this pain on you. But from my own experience, I hit rock bottom at 21.
Hmm.
I was in the party lifestyle and I just like I hit that rock bottom and I too fell into a puddle and just
Hmm.
didn't know where to go, what to do, how to do it.
Yeah.
And my life just felt like it was complete disgusting mess and I didn't know anything. And I
Hmm.
finally like admitted that. I finally admitted, okay, God, like I thought that I would find something in the world. I thought that I would find value in the world. I thought that everything that I was told not to do would bring me fulfilling peace and happiness and joy in my life, but it didn't. I was wrong. And like really just like setting down all of my broken expectations and all of my pride and asking Christ to come in and totally revamp my whole entire
Hmm.
life. And it's not like it was like a instant moment and then everything in Melanie's life was perfect. It was
Yeah.
a process. Like it's a refining process of continuing laying down my sin, my hardship, my darkness, my expectations, my pride, laying it down on the cross on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm still a work in progress. It's not like I think I said in my talk with Bonnie, like it's not like we graduate from this
Totally.
or we like hit graduation day and we're like, okay, we're all perfect now.
Yeah.
It's like it's an ongoing process that we get to step into the spirit with, like
Yeah. Yeah.
into that relationship with the Holy Spirit. And yeah, so I just like first of all want the listeners to understand that um sometimes hard things happen, sometimes we face struggle and
Hmm.
hardship, and that doesn't mean that it's going to wreck us, but maybe
Hmm.
it's just like I have this vision in my head of I don't know if it's like from a video game or what, but you know, like you pick up a little character that's like walking in a straight line, you pick him up and you put him down, and then he walks in a different direction that you set him, and
Hmm.
just like kind of allowing God to like pick you up from where you are and put you
Hmm.
on the path that He has for you,
Yeah.
and accepting that it's not going to be comfortable all the time and you are going to have
Yeah.
hardship along the road.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just kind of what comes to mind.
Yeah. It's so good. And I think even like your rock bottom experience, this was a rock bottom experience for me. It's like when we hit the bottom, it's like there's nowhere else we could look except up. Like when life is going great, I don't look up often. I just kind of look around, look what's going on, look what we're doing. This is so great. Then you hit rock bottom and you're like at the bottom of a well, and it's like the only place you can look up. Only place you can look is to look up. And so it's like God, I think in his perfect plan, you know, gives us these opportunities so that we could look to him again and almost just get refocused.
Yeah. And you
Yeah.
even think back to like biblical times, like the Pharisees and the Sadducees of like all that religious spirit of the works. And like I think that we can still have that. I mean, we do still have
We
that in
do.
modern life where
Yeah.
people are like, if I serve on the blah blah team and the other
Yeah.
team and that team and this team, then I will be sanctified. I will be good. I will be
Yeah.
right, and I will have a status in God's kingdom type of
Yeah.
mentality. And I mean, like, and that again comes down to the hustle culture. I'm curious what it's like in different cultures in different parts of the world, if they also have that hustle culture spirit, or if it's mostly just in North America that we have that. I'm not sure.
That's a good question. I don't know. I feel like it's more of like the West, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're here. And so we need to
Hmm.
understand what our culture is, and we need to combat against it and just fight against like the lies that will be accepted and we're worthy and we're, blessed and whatever by all the things we do. Um yeah, it's just that's not the way. It's not the way.
Hmm.
I thought it was the way. Even though I knew it wasn't the way, I still did the way. That's just my default, is to just do more. Um, and it's a hard balance of trying to figure out, you know, what to say yes to. I'm a people pleaser, so I usually say yes to everything. Um, and so that just gets me into a lot of trouble. But trying to be really discerning and prayerful, and asking God every day, where do you want me today? Like what am I supposed to do today for you? And what does that look like? And just starting the days off like that, I think is super important.
Yeah, I'm a recovering people pleaser.
Nice.
Work in progress.
Come on.
Yeah. Yeah. So definitely, I mean, again, just relatable.
Totally.
I'm curious, like, for those that may be listening that are like, whoa, I am in a season of ministry burnout. I've been
Hmm.
serving at the church, I've been doing all the
Hmm.
things, and now listening to this, like, it resonates, it hits. Okay, what do they do with it now?
Hmm. Um, I think you need to just stop everything. Don't quit your job, but just you need to just do like an inventory, like just check everything that's going on and bring everything to the Lord and ask the Lord, what are the areas that I need to be investing in? What are the areas I'm not supposed to be investing in? God is very good and directs our steps and speaks to us through his word. And, we don't have to guess all the time. I also feel like, when I started ministry, I didn't know if I was supposed to go here, go there, like what was the next step in my life. Um, and I remember I wrote a prayer out to the Lord. I was like newly saved, and I wrote a prayer out to the Lord. I said, "Okay, Lord, I'm wrestling. Should I go here? Should I go there? Should I stay at the church I'm at and whatever?" And so I said, I really need an answer. It was a Sunday afternoon. I'd love like an answer. So I just wrote whatever from your son. I put the letter down, put it on my bed, and I wasn't tired, but I'm like, Lord, if I could just like nap and then wake up and, you know, have an answer or something. I don't know. Anyway, so I hit the pillow and I immediately passed out. Like immediately. And I'm having a dream, and I'm in my room still in my dream, and this huge angel comes in and grabs the paper and starts reading my prayer with the Lord. And so I'm getting up. I remember I'm jumping on the bed to jump over his shoulder because he was so big, to like kind of see where he's reading or what's going on. And then as I'm watching this all unfold, there's these two girls in the corner of my room, and they're fighting like verbally about where they donated their money. And one girl said, "Hey, I'm donating over here." And the other girl's like, "How could you do that? I'm donating to this ministry." And then they started fighting about where they're donating their money. And I remember asking the angel, said, like, what's going on? Like, they're both donating money to like good causes. Why are they fighting about it? Like, they're both good. And I felt like God came like a rushing wind in that moment and said, "Exactly, my son. Anywhere you serve me is good." The will of the Lord is not this like fine line where if we just miss one step, we're like totally out of God's will and we're a disaster. We need to like, figure out our lives. God speaks to us and he directs us and he leads us and he shows us the way. And God was telling me in that moment, hey, wherever you go, if you put me first, it's going to be okay and I'm going to use you. And so for people who are in the middle of burnout and they're struggling and they don't know what to do, reevaluate everything. Maybe there's a lot of things on your plate that you're not supposed to do. Maybe the things you're supposed to do. Bring everything to God. Maybe write him a letter. I did that. That worked. Be in the Word. But I feel like you just need to reassess your situation and ask why you're doing certain things. Remind your soul who you're doing it for. And read the story in Luke with Mary and Martha. And put yourself in the position of Mary sitting at the feet. What would that look like? What would your role look like? Would it be different? Do you rely on yourself more to get ministry done, or are you relying on the Holy Spirit more to get ministry work done? Because I felt like I was relying on my own gifts and talents and abilities, and that is the road to burnout. And so just you got to reassess and recalibrate, refocus, stop and look at everything you're doing and bring every detail to the Lord. And He is so faithful. He will guide your steps.
That is so good. It also makes me think of the comparison, like the comparison that we can have on other people, like as you explained with those girls fighting about where they put their money. And I have 2 kids, you have kids, and what I've noticed is that comparison starts like at a young age where it's like, well, I can do this, or well, I can do this, and kids just start bickering over who can do what. It's like you're not even taking into account the fact that you're 6 and he's 4 or whatever it may be, right? Or like kids that ride horses know how to ride horses, but kids that know how to snowboard, but then they have like some sort of like ingrained comparison level that their value and their worth comes from whether or not they're better at something than the other kid.
That's so funny. That's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess it's a part like, oh, you go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Well, I guess it's kind of like a part of our sinful nature of like, of needing to almost like, I guess, evaluate ourselves and not actually look to God and what God has given us. Because like we've already talked about, like everybody within the church has different gifts, different abilities, different whatever, but everybody wants to be at a certain spot. Like it takes so much to come together and like run a ministry, run a community, run anything, a hiking club. Like there's got to be different people working on different aspects of that. And like, why does everybody want to be the lead? Or why does everybody want to be, oh, I wish that I could sing. I wish I could sing. I cannot sing. I still sing. And I sing at home, and my husband just like rolls his eyes at me. He's like, come on, woman. But I still sing. Whatever. It is what it is.
Well, the Bible says make a joyful noise. So
yeah, that's right. That's biblical. That's what I do. I make joyful noises.
Yeah.
But there's no way that I'm ever going to make it onto a worship team. And you know what? I'm okay with that today. But for so many years, like in my younger years, I'd see people get up on stage, grab the microphone, play an instrument, and they could just do it. And they did it so well. And I was like, why can't I do that? And like, putting myself down because I can't. But I mean, now I've learned like my gifts are just somewhere else, and that's okay. Yeah. They look different, and that's okay. But that spirit of comparison of like measuring up, like how much we're serving, what we're serving at, and like we do it to ourselves, but we also do it to other people. And like, even, I mean, I'm gonna jump off of this point here, but like even for you, like like when you were burning out, you were serving in various different aspects. And there's so many people that are serving in different aspects that are experiencing burnout. But then you have the people that they're helping that have these expectations thrown upon that leader that they're supposed to show up. They're supposed to answer my calls. They're supposed to answer my text message. Why didn't they answer that question the way I think that they should have answered that question? And we put so much pressure and expectation on these leaders. Meanwhile, the leader is like drowning. And I think that leaders, regardless of where they're leading, do experience a different level of isolation because they know that there's that expectation that they're supposed to have the answers. They're supposed to know what to do. They're supposed to have that time, but they don't have that time. Yeah. Or that maybe they don't have that answer, or maybe they just are not at a place in their own spirituality or even emotionally, physically, mentally, that they can really give time and space to something else, and like learning how to have that balance there. But the people that are being helped also need to recognize that we are part of the body of Christ. You don't have to go to the head pastor. You don't have to go to a ministry leader. You can go to people that you sit next to in the pews.
Yeah.
and you can utilize the family of God.
Yeah, a couple things. So going back to your gifting in singing, and you say, hey, you know what? I don't have that gift. I don't have whatever. Like I have different gifts, and I'm okay with that, or that's okay. Uh, I think it's more than okay. I think it's amazing. Imagine if we had everyone who was the same gift. Like we can't have like 45 feet in the body. Like everyone plays a very unique role. And instead of saying, oh man, I wish I had that, be like, oh man, this is beautiful that we all operate very, very, very differently. So it's more than okay. It's amazing. And it's the exact way God designed it. Another thing, going to ministry leaders, you're so right on all those things. And I felt all those things. And I think it's important for like twofold for those who are like in a church body and those who are maybe leaders or, facilitating different ministry opportunities. Um, I always, when I did my 15 years in music ministry as a pastor, I never once, maybe this is why I lasted 15 years and I didn't burn out sooner, but I just never once admitted that I knew everything about everything. I would tell the team if I'm tired. I would tell the team if I don't have an answer. I will tell the team that I'm struggling. I will tell the team that I'm, whatever the case is. I think like if you're a leader leading a ministry, uh, just be yourself. I think a lot of us put on a facade like we got it all together and we know all the answers and we're happy and we have a perfect marriage and perfect kids and life is just perfect. We're all floating on clouds because we're leaders. That's just a recipe for disaster, I think. And I think leaders need to be okay with being not okay. I would share stuff on a Sunday morning in the pulpit, leading worship, and just say, "Hey, like this happened." Like I'll tell you a story. My wife and I got like this crazy spiritual attack one night. It was so nuts. We turned on every light in the house at like 3 a.m, and we were like screaming Jesus at the top of our lungs. It was a very like spiritual demonic attack in our home. And I remember we were like literally yelling Jesus for a long time. And we got our Bible and we just read the Bible out loud from like 3 a.m till 7 a.m. And then we went. Then I had to go to church for service, like prep, because it was a early Sunday morning. And it was wild. It was absolutely wild of a time. But we opened the Bible and that was our weapon. And God like just, filled us and gave us the strength and gave us the peace. And, it was crazy. It was dark. It was demonic, but it was also beautiful. And we saw God through it all. I get to church and we have the first service. And this is what I'm bringing into the first service. So instead of like smiling, happy, everything is perfect, I just feel like I was in hell for a couple of hours. Do I say that? Do I bring it up? Do I just pretend like nothing happened? And so I felt like I needed to just share it. And I said, hey, you know what? The Bible reminds us that this battle that we face not against flesh and blood is like a spiritual battle. And this is what just happened just a few hours ago. And the song we sang last night, because we had a Saturday service and 2 Sunday morning services, and one of the lyrics was, I called, you answered, you came to my rescue. And that song had very different meaning the next morning because I literally called, he literally answered, and he literally came to my rescue in a way that I didn't need to call him on Saturday night. And so I share the story, and then I start leading the song, and maybe 3 lines in, I start scream crying. Like I am bawling out of control because I'm overwhelmed at the truths of what just happened and how the song means way more to me. And like I am a mess. And so I fall on my knees and I can't sing anymore. The microphone's gone. I'm just on the floor. And the whole time I'm saying to myself, like, Andrew, you idiot, like pull yourself together. This is so embarrassing. Like, what is wrong? And I'm just like nonstop just attacking myself of how stupid this must look. And then I don't even want to look at anyone because I'm just so embarrassed at like what's happening. And I take a quick peek at what's happening in the room because everyone was still singing, and the guitar player continued to sing for me, and like the service was going on. And I kind of take a quick peek to see what's happening in the room, and the whole church is on their knees, maybe 1,200 people, and they're all weeping and they're all praising God and they're all praying, and like it was just this crazy time. Like I get chills even just remembering it. And it's like, it's okay for us to not be okay. It's okay for us to cry. It's okay for us to fall on our faces. It's okay for us to just come undone before the Lord. I think people are hungry for real leaders, and then it also takes the pressure off the leader to not have to put on a facade that everything's okay. I led worship at a church as a guest in California, and it was a church of like 8,000 people or something ridiculous. And I remember the first service right after, we went to the back room, and there was already a list 5 minutes after the first service of like all the things that were good and all the things that were bad. And my name was on the bad list. And I was the guest worship leader. So I was like, and there was like a full team, tech team, pastors, staff, we're all in this room. And I'm sitting there as a guest, and my name is on like the naughty list. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't even know what I did. Then it comes down to the list. I'm like, oh gosh, it's coming to me. So it comes to me, and they look at me and say, hey, when you shared the story about, your wife going through some hardship, and that was like the story of the song that a lot of the songs I've written have come from rock bottom times. Like you look at King David, there's so many psalms and so many songs of just when you're so desperate and you need the Lord. And so it wasn't a happy, fun story, but they just said, oh, if you could have like more energy and more joy, they just wanted me to put on like this fake thing to have high energy and to be happy. And I'm like, but it wasn't that story. Like I can't say the story like that. And so I just suggested, and it was the Holy Spirit who kind of gave me the idea in the moment to just bring that song to the end, towards the end of the more reflection time, instead of like so early in the Thanksgiving and kind of celebration part. So maybe there was something there. In any event, I just feel like a lot of leaders feel this pressure, like they just have to have it all together. And I think churches are afraid to have authentic leaders who admit that they don't have it together, or what are people going to think of you, or people think of our church if like our leaders are a mess. But the reality is, if we go up there, we put our smiles on, everything's together, we're literally lying in front of everybody, because no one has a perfect life. And so I think for leaders, take the pressure off your shoulders, take the stress off ministry, be okay to not be okay, be real with your teams, be real with your church. It's okay. And in fact, I think people like that more when you're just being who you are and not covering up, things and trying to put on this fake smile. And then for people who are in the church, who are, congregation members, to just remind yourself that your leaders are real people, and to remind yourself that your leaders probably don't have a big group of circle of friends or people that they hang out with or that they love and trust, and they're just so isolated, like you mentioned. Like, you know we're all the body, we all work together, there's no platform and pew, it's just all of us, and we're just doing life and doing ministry and doing church and coming and gathering together. And I feel like, just remove the titles, remove the stage, remove whatever. Just, we're believers, man. And um, let's just be real. I don't know. Sorry, that was a long rant. But I am the host of a podcast as well, so I don't know how to stop.
Thank you for your honesty and your authenticity.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. I think kind of like what you alluded to, I think people are craving authenticity.
Totally.
And I feel like with social media and everything too, people can we can present ourselves in whatever way we want and be an influencer or whatever.
Totally.
Or we can just be real people. But even regardless of who you show up as online, it's there's always going to be somebody that comes out of the woodwork and is going to meh, 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 bark at you or whatever, or attack you. I don't know why I'm bringing that up, but I guess just that authenticity piece of for leaders within the church and even the congregation or the people that are showing up and haven't really gotten involved yet.
Mm-hmm.
The authenticity is attractive to people. And even with your story of falling down and crying and all that, I mean, I've sat beside people that just, and this isn't shade or judgment or anything. This is just different people, different whatever. But I've sat beside people that keep their arms down low, don't really sing, don't really get into worship. And then I also kind of and then maybe this is something I need to work on, but remember, I'm not a singer. Anyways, yeah, so they'll just stand there kind of stoic, and I'm yeah, okay, I can do stoic. But then I've also stood beside people that have their arms raised and they're calling out praise to God in the middle of song and yes, Jesus, yes. And going off script and just in the moment of worship. And it's just yeah, let's go. And I got my hands raised up, right? So it's like authenticity is attractive, but
Yeah.
also you can encourage and inspire other people just by living out that relationship with God openly.
Yeah.
And I even think from like the suffering and the grief perspective, in the Bible times, it used to be that they would tear off their clothes, throw dirt on their head, and like wail in the street about a loss that they had experienced. But now, what do? We lock our doors and hide in our
Hmm.
closet and curl up
Hmm.
into a ball on the floor type
Yeah.
of thing. So it's like, I don't know. I just feel like we're kind of missing that connection piece that we were supposed to have at
Yeah.
some point. We've kind of just pushed ourselves off into the outskirts, and like we have expectations on ourselves, expectations on other people. And I don't know, that's my rant. So I don't know if you have anything to say to that or if I just totally
Yeah.
went in another field somewhere.
No, I love it. I'll hop anywhere you want to go. I think it's interesting. Like I remember leading worship, I'd be looking at the Stoics and looking at the charismaniacs and just like kind of looking to the people who are like so in, getting so inspired. Then looking at the Stoics, being like, oh no, like they're mad at me, they hate me. Am I doing something wrong? Like what's their problem? Was this a wrong key? Like do they hate this song? And I remember one guy, arms crossed, staring me down the whole service, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this guy! Like, I think he's gonna kill me. I think he's actually gonna walk up and just shoot me or something." And after he comes up after service, like, "Oh man, that was beautiful worship. Like, I was so touched." I'm like, "Really, really though? Because I thought you were gonna murder me." But it's just like it's interesting. And a guitar player that I play with, I used to tour with him for years, and I'd see him in the balcony, and he didn't really have like his hand raised, but I mean his head was down. He's just like, but I know he loves Jesus so much, like so much, and that's just like some people just that's just what they do, and that is their authentic self technically. And so it's like, no matter what it looks like, just but we can learn from each other. Maybe one guy is just solemn and he's thinking and he's meditating on the word. That's really cool. Like maybe I don't do that as much. I'm just flailing my arms like crazy. I should like just think about what I'm singing. And some of the people who are more expressive, maybe the Stoics could be like, hey, you know what? Like the Bible does say to raise hands, and the Bible does say to make a joy, you know. And so we can learn from each other. We're all a part of the body, learning from each other, and I think it's just so cool. But yeah, and that's a huge point you make with, you know, tearing their garments and dirt in their head and wailing in the streets, and here we go, we hide when we're actually supposed to, deal with things with people and not hide it and pretend like our lives are perfect. I think social media, like you said, is just like it's this place where everything looks like you're living your best life and you're vacationing and your kids are always smiling and everything's always perfect. I have a guy who was talking to my sister. They work at the same school, and he used to be on my worship team years ago, and he was just saying like, hey man, like you got to tell your brother, like out of all the people I've ever met in my life, like I guess God really used me to heal this guy. He had some past hurts with worship team stuff, and so we had a really great healing experience through ministry together. But he told my sister, oh, like tell your brother, like out of all the people I've ever met in my entire life, your brother represents Jesus the most to me from any person I've ever met. And I just told her, well, I'll give you my wife's number and she'll tell you how much I act like Satan. Because technically, you're just seeing the one side. It's like the social media where everything is happy and perfect, but we're all got our stuff. And so don't be afraid to share your stuff with people you love and trust. And, maybe don't wail on the streets, but maybe that's just a reminder that we're not supposed to just cry in private, but to just really do life with people. We're not meant to do life alone. And so I think being real and being real with others is huge.
Agreed. I agree.
Yeah.
All right. So, well, like we're kind of coming to the close, which is sad. I could literally stay here. I mean, we've gone on so many different little trailheads.
I
I'm
love
like,
it.
let's just keep going.
I love it. I hope everyone's still tuning in. I hope everyone's okay wherever you are.
Yeah,
Everything's good. Hopefully, this is a great resource for them, for you.
absolutely. Yeah, I think it's been a good conversation. Just before we close, though, is there anything else that you want to share with people that might be struggling at this time, or and then follow that up with how can they connect with you? A little bit about the INDOUBT Show, what you're doing, and all that.
Sure. Yeah. When I was completely burnt out and anxiety, panic attacks, all that kind of stuff, I'll share two things if we have time. God also used me in a lot of ways. when I thought I was good for nothing. And I guess that's just a good testimony of it's not on our own strength, our own power, our own abilities, our own giftings and talents. It's just God just uses us when we are available. I was driving by my old neighborhood, and usually we never have time to pull in to go see our old neighbors, but I'm burnt out. I'm doing no work. I have nothing going on. We should go see how so and so's doing. So we drive in, and there he is in the driveway. And I prayed with him a couple of times. He's a non-Christian, but we've been praying for him for years. Older guy, and I saw him out there. So I just pulled over. How's it going? He said he's not doing well. He has some neck issues, pinched nerves, all that kind of stuff. He asked me how I was doing. I said, well, I'm terrible as well with burnout and anxiety and all these kind of things. And we were both kind of struggling. I asked if I could pray for his neck. So we prayed. It was kind of awkward. He always gets a little awkward when I pray for him, but it's okay. Just, not like an hour-long prayer. And then we leave. Next day he calls me, leaves a voicemail because I missed it. He said, call me back right away. So I call him and he says, hey, I just had my first panic attack. And I've never had one before, but I know you were just mentioning the other day that you've had them, and I thought maybe we could talk about this. And I said, well, with your pinched nerve and your physical pain and my deep depression and burnout, the only one who could take us out of this pit is Jesus. I know that. And he said, can you come over and can we just talk? So I drive over to his house. The first time I drive without having anxiety driving. And I get there. We talk about God for about 3 or 4 hours. And finally, after praying for him for 6 years, he says, Andrew, I want to give my life to Jesus today. So we pray together. He accepts Christ. We hug. We cry. I get back in my car and I'm driving home. And my first prayer when I was driving home is, Lord, thank you for my panic attacks. And I thought it was a very weird prayer. But at the same time, if I didn't have this moment in my life, there wouldn't have been this connection with this guy, which ultimately God used in this bigger picture of him giving his life to the Lord. And we would talk on the phone every day. I said, hey, do you have a Bible? And he says, no, I don't have one. I'm like, would you like me to give you one? And his response immediately was, how soon can you get here? So I drove to Chapters, a lot farther from my house. Again, no anxiety. I was just on a mission. So God just really helped me. Get a Bible, we sit, we talk, we go through everything. And every day we would talk on the phone about what he's reading. And it was an opportunity to disciple him. But that happened because of this connection with burnout. So if you're in the middle of burnout, don't think that you have no purpose. Don't think that burnout has no purpose. Don't think that your panic attacks have no purpose. God works everything for the good of those who love him. And so if you love him and you're going through some things, give them to the Lord and watch God use you in the midst of feeling like you are absolutely burnt out and, not useful. When I went to Dr. John Neufeld, who's Back to the Bible Canada's teacher, and I've known him for years. I used to work with him at our old church many years ago. The voice in my head was getting really loud about, offing myself. And so I'm like, I can't take this voice anymore. It's so loud. I told my wife, I need to go tell someone. And so he was the first person that came in my mind. So I met him for coffee and said, hey, listen, I'm thinking about ending it, which is so wild to say now, but it was real. And he just opened the Bible to 2 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 8, and he just slid the Bible over the table. He's like, read verse 8 out loud. And I read verse 8 out loud. It says, I, the Apostle Paul, don't forget all the things we went through in Asia and all the struggles and the hardship where it was so hard and so much suffering that we despaired of life itself. And so he just said, you're in good company. Some of our heroes of the faith literally despised of life itself. And so if you're in that place, I tell you, 2 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 8, look at Paul, look at those who have gone before us. They were in the same boat and they felt the same things. And so we are in good company, but we need to abide. We need to rest. We need to cling on to Christ. I felt so many times that I'm just hanging on by a thread, and someone told me, yeah, but that thread is Christ and it will never break. So just abide in him, sit with him, rest in him, be in the word, have people in your life that you can talk to about these things instead of just hiding it and hiding in your room and crying by yourself. We can't do this by ourselves, but know that this happens. It's happened to me. It's happened to many people, that there is a way out. And don't look anywhere but to the Lord, and He will help you out of the pit, like He has for me and for you. So that's what I would say as my kind of like closing remarks to the burnt out leader or a burnt out Christian who is just tired. 2 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 8, be with community, share what you're feeling, don't hide it in your heart, and know that God could use you even in the middle of feeling like you're useless. I couldn't put cutlery down, but I led someone to the Lord. It's like, how does that work? Only by the power of the Holy Spirit. And that only happened because I had burnout and I shared. There's another thing. I was authentic. If someone says, how's it going? I could have just said, I'm good. I said, no, I'm terrible, actually. And this is what I'm going through. So be real with people, because the authenticity actually unlocks opportunities for you to do some ministry that you can't even do in your own strength. It's a beautiful thing. And God gets all the glory. He can't even take credit for it. Yeah, I hope that's helpful.
Yeah, I think that's great. I like that.
Awesome.
Like that could be I don't know if that's your words exactly, but authenticity unlocks opportunity.
Yeah,
that what
that's
you
pretty
said?
cool. That just kind of happened, but I think I really like that. And
I really like that.
I feel like that was just what happened with me.
Yeah.
Like, just looking back, even now, I'm reflecting on that story. It's like, I could have just said good like every other North American answer. But I didn't. I told him my struggles.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I just did. And then that just unlocked all these opportunities and, led him to the Lord that night.
Well, and I think like you said, like God works in mysterious ways, but also if we are Christian, if people know that we're Christian, and every time people see the Christian is just happy go lucky and carefree, like that's not relatable for people that are struggling in this time.
Totally.
And so like even for me, like I remember, because I grew up at church. So I go to church and it just seemed like everybody had it together. But on the inside, I was dying. I was literally dying. Yeah. And so I would go to church and I'd just be like, okay, well, I don't have a place here because I'm dying. Like my life is crap. And so I ended up walking away from the church for like many whatever reasons. But my point is that if the world can see our authenticity and our desire and longing for that community and connection with Christ, that is going to just like I said about like standing next to somebody in church that's got their hands raised and is like, yeah, Jesus, I love you. Like that is an influential thing where we can influence people in the world. And I mean, please be understanding that my intention is with saying this is not like, okay, put on this face and then people are going to be drawn in. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying authenticity in your relationship with Christ is going to draw people in. So also like check your heart posture. What are you trying to be perceived a certain way? Or are you allowing God to be the one that determines how you are perceived while you're just focusing on Him and walking with Him? And I also want to bring up, like, because you struggled with suicidal thoughts and you were involved in church. So I think sometimes we can, like, I don't know, I think suicide is more common now than it was when I was younger.
My goodness, it is.
It's just so heavy. Like there's this whole spirit of suicide that is just looming over people in this time. And like I've lost people to suicide. I've not struggled with suicidal thoughts myself, but I used alcohol to numb myself. So I think in a way like alcohol saved me from the suicidal things, because I think I would have been suicidal if I hadn't numbed. And I'm not saying, hey, this is the way to do it or get through it. I'm not saying that at all. That's not the way. That's not the way. Jesus is the way.
Not the way. 100%.
Yeah. But I just like the recognition that yes, suicidal thoughts happen in the church pews and people are struggling with suicidal thoughts at church. And also that verse, like Jesus didn't come for the healthy, but He came for the sick. I don't know exactly how it goes, but just recognizing like we're all going through something in life and we all need to like, I don't know, there's like that first relationship, that first priority, or just the priority. Christ. And then from there we get to like stretch out our hand and hold on to other people. But I don't know. I mean, the main point I was thinking of was that you were able to pray with this man or this person and bring them to Christ because you were authentic in the
Yeah.
fact that you are, a Christian, but you still face hardship. Because I think the expectation can be that once we say yes to Jesus, all of our problems are supposed to go away. And that's
Yeah.
not the reality. That's not the
Yeah.
truth. We still experience hardship, but we have, like, we're hand in hand with the God of the entire universe, the
Yeah.
God that created all things, the God that created us on purpose for the purpose of having a relationship with him. And so I just feel like that's something that we need to
So good.
be aware of.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so good. And I mean, there's a lot, I think there was like 3 or 4 pastors in America in the last, like, maybe there's more, but just people in my circles who are pastors who committed suicide. So it's like, it's beyond just some people in the pew. It could be staff members. It's everybody. We're all struggling. And so we need to just talk about our struggles. I think that's, we're not invincible to all the things.
No, we aren't.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, Andrew, thank you. Thank you
Yeah. I
for,
appreciate it.
just like your vulnerability for sure, and your authenticity, as we've talked about, and just your willingness to share this part of your story of experiencing ministry burnout, and just how you've come out the other side, and now you are active in ministry again. But I'm assuming that you do have boundaries set up in place, and
Yeah.
and
And I've learned that, people, when they go through burnout, their capacity has changed a little bit. Like, I can't run the same speed that I ran before. Like, someone compared burnout to like getting a concussion, where it's like the second concussion is like a lot easier, and then the third one's even easier. So you have to be like really careful, because I could burn out again very easily. And so, yeah, it's been a good pace. But I mean, even with In Doubt, and I can share a little bit what we're doing now, and we can wrap up. But I feel like I'm laughing again. I got joy again, and I feel like it's just a really a lot healthier of a place. And glory to God, it's amazing to see Him transform me and take me out of that pit. But yeah, ways you can get plugged in: indoubt.com if you want to check out what we're doing, or go on socials at INDOUBT SHOW. And we'd love to be an extra resource for you. Also, Andrew Marcus Music, if you want to see some of the music that I do, that's the website for that. And you can find me on socials as well. But I would love to connect with whoever. And if you don't want to connect with me, that's totally fine. Like, I'm okay.
that's good. That's good. Awesome. Well, yeah, thanks again.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure.
All right, listeners, thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode. I pray that this was encouraging for you. If you find that you're in a season of ministry burnout, or struggling with anything that Andrew brought up in this episode, I just pray that you would connect with somebody in your circle, whether it be a pastor, a trusted friend, a family member, your doctor, a counselor, anybody that you can just come alongside and be vulnerable and be open and be real with them about the struggles that you are facing. It's not weak for us to admit that we are vulnerable. It shows that we are human, and we all go through seasons of vulnerability. So I just hope that you find this as an encouragement. Before we go, I wanted to point out that Andrew Marcus will actually be at the Apologetics Canada conference happening here in Abbotsford, BC on March 7th and 8th. So he's going to be recording an In Doubt Show podcast episode, YouTube channel episode with Troy Lydiot from the AC podcast. And they're going to be talking about Bursting the Bubble, Bible College Survival Kit. So be sure to check out the website for Apologetics Canada. I'll also have that in the show notes. And get your ticket and register, because tickets are selling out fast, and it's going to be a great event. So if you're in the area, or if you're willing to fly to the area, be sure to grab your ticket today. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.